Hey guys, so in this video, we're gonna show you on how to install the virtual machine VirtualBox by Oracle. So it is free to download in the Oracle website, so you don't have to pay for that, and it is a hosted hypervisor. Again, it is a hosted hypervisor, so it's not bare metal. So first of all, I'm gonna drive through its system requirements. So of course, if there's trouble in downloading the VirtualBox or installing it, so first of all, you have to go to the BIOS of your system and enable the virtualization. So first of all, we have to assess the hardware. The hardware of your system should be powerful enough to run a virtual machine. So, but we don't have to worry about that. But that's because Intel and AMD are already done that progress. So second is the memory RAM or the RAM itself. So of course, in the RAM, you have to allocate of at least just 512 megabyte of it. So it's just little, but when it comes to the gas operating system, it borrows on what we call 2 gigabyte of memory RAM. So it is that big in order to assess a gas operating performance. So example of those operating system might be Windows 8.1 and Windows 7. Then third is the hard disk. Now in the hard disk, so the gas operating system must have a 25 gigabyte of memory, but in installing the VirtualBox, so it just needs 30 megabyte of memory. So it's just little. But what I said, in the gas operating system, it needs 25 gigabyte of memory. That's because in order to access some of the virtual machine files inside of it, and also some of the physical resources inside of it. So the hard disk is a virtual disk file, so you don't need to worry about that. It just borrows some of the physical resources from your system. Then the fourth one will be the gas operating system itself. So like in here, what I have here in the desktop is the Windows 7 Ultimate ISO image. In size is 3 gigabyte of RAM. So this is the gas operating system, and it is also one of the requirements of the VirtualBox, since you have to install it in the virtual machine. Then not only that it can have a Microsoft Windows gas operating system, but also can have Linux or Mac OS or even Solaris and many more. Then lastly is the hosted hypervisor itself. Now not the hosted hypervisor itself, but the hosted operating system. Oh yeah, that is widely used in your system, just like in here. So what I'm using here is Windows 10, and it can widely run in the VirtualBox in this Microsoft Windows 10 operating system. So we don't have to worry about that, but can be also support Mac OS or Linux and many more. So again, as you can see in this desktop, where we already have a Windows 7 Ultimate ISO image file. So this ISO image file should be booted inside a virtual machine that we will make in the VirtualBox. Then also we have here a VirtualBox installation software that I downloaded in the Oracle website, and it is the latest version, and it is the VirtualBox 5.1.26. So next up, we're gonna install now the VirtualBox and also have to boot the Windows 7 ISO image file inside a virtual machine.
Since we already downloaded the VirtualBox 5.1.26, which is the latest version in this computer, all we have to do now is install the VirtualBox. All you have to do is double click this and you'll be directed to the installation process. Click next. There you have the custom setup, which we are going to leave that by default. Click next. Next. Proceed with installation. Click yes. And install. So you are asked if you'd like to allow this application to make changes to your device. Click yes. So it's installing. There, the installation is already done. So So this is the main user interface of the Oracle VirtualBox. So for you to be able to create a new virtual machine, just click this icon new. Then you'll be asked to give your virtual machine a name. So let's name this as test. Then you also get to choose what operating system you'd like. So since we are using Windows, so Microsoft Windows, and you also need to specify the version, and the default of this virtual machine is Windows 7 32-bit, but since we have the 64-bit, so we are choosing this. Click next. So there you need to allocate the amount of RAM. Click next. So if you'd like to create a virtual hard disk in your virtual machine, so choose this and then create. So what type of hard disk file? So we're gonna choose virtual disk image. Click next. Then let's choose the dynamically allocated hard disk file, since it only uses the space on your physical hard disk as it fills up the hard disk. Next. Then let's just name that as test, and then let's leave that 25 gigabyte as default, since it is the recommendation of the VirtualBox to be the size of your virtual hard disk in megabytes. Great. So there you have your virtual machine, but it won't run since it locks the Windows resources. So we're going to import that. Click settings, then storage. So there, it is empty. So click this, and then make sure that you'll enable its property, which is the hot pluggable. Then locate the file, the Windows resources. So here it is. Open. So there, it is already imported in your virtual hard disk. Click OK. Then let's see if it runs. So there you have it, it already runs.
Since we already have booted the guest OS, which is the Windows 7 Ultimate, in the hypervisor, which is the Oracle VirtualBox, what we gotta do now is its setup phase. We have to leave the language, the time, and the keyboard input on default. You don't have to deal with that. Next, just click install. Just gotta accept the terms. We don't have to read this license terms. So we'll just click next. Now in this user interface, we gotta choose from two different options: the upgrade and the custom. Logically, the upgrade option allows us to upgrade an existing Windows 7 OS. Like if you have Windows 7 Home Edition, and when you click upgrade, you have to go through the step of upgrading it to Windows 7 Ultimate. So we gotta choose advanced or custom, since we need to install since we installed it for the first time. So just click custom. Here is the partitioning of the virtual hard disk. Just click next, since we don't have any other disk drives installed. Now it's setting up. But since this will take probably an hour or so. We just gotta skip it until the end. So the setup is complete. To boot to the Windows, we need to give the PC a name. So just name it test. Click next. Then input the password. Let's see. This. Now, to give us a hint of the password in case we forget the characters, you just have to put a hint. And just put T. Click next. And since this is just an ISO image, this is just an image of the Windows 7 Ultimate, we can just skip this space. Just skip. You can choose either 3 of this, but just choose this for now. And click next. And if you have a public network or any computer shop, we gotta use this public network. But since we have our own network, we just gotta use home network. So yeah, the desktop is booting. Just gotta wait a few seconds. So yeah, here's the desktop, Windows 7 Ultimate. Then to make sure if the devices we allocated are working properly, just gotta execute this command. So here is the allocated RAM, the name, guest OS, which is 64-bit, and the processor of the desktop or the laptop. Just click exit, and to see if the OS is working properly, we gotta close the Hypervisor or the machine. Click OK. So you start the virtual OS again. Start Windows normally. It's okay, it looks like it's going to work properly now since it's booting up with no errors. You can input the password. There we go. So guys, hope you like the video, and if you like the video, press like down below, and if you want to share it, just share it to your friends so that they would know. And yeah, that's all.